I owe you guys a huge apology. This was supposed to be a two-parter episode. You were supposed to get part one back on Thursday. Since I've been back from Leatherwood, my life has been, you don't even understand. I've been working a lot. Friday night, my internet went out, so I haven't been able to finish the editing or do the upload because we use some online tools for editing, not a whole lot, but enough that it made editing a lot harder and not real easy to accomplish. And even if I did, the editing would be done and I couldn't upload it. So, yeah, so you're getting a 2-hour episode. It's a rarity here at Botches for you to get an episode this long, but hope you guys enjoy it. Leatherwood was fun, and you'll hear all about it coming up. Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Join us as we talk about everything from gear reviews to trail stories, tent camping to rock landing, and all things to do with the outdoors. We got a great one today. Me and Mark and Duncan and half of the Botches went out to Leatherwood? Half or so?
Half.
I'd say half.
Yeah, about half.
Yeah, about half. About half the Botches went out to Leatherwood with Mitten State Tours. We had a absolutely wild time. Leatherwood is a park that I think everybody should take the time to go to. It was fantastic, especially if you're on this side of the Mississippi, because we don't have anything like it over here.
Oh.
And we already lost Gavin. We're a minute in and Gavin's already gone. He's back. Everything's fine.
Whoopsies.
So we left on Thursday?
Wednesday night.
Fuck, that's right. Yeah. I'm glad we left when we did because we would have gotten there so late on Thursday if we hadn't.
Yeah.
And we are driving in the cool, rainy breeze and still having overheating problems on the way down. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened there?
It started with Duncan, man.
Did we not check our fluids before we left, or was it you guys getting plugs, or what?
Everyone's fluids were good when we left.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure what's all up with Duncan's ride yet. I don't think I've heard
Thermostat
of it.
issue.
I know Mark's isn't a thermostat issue because we took that out.
Mine was definitely not a thermostat issue, but that was for a different day.
What was? No, we're talking about it. This is where we're talking about it.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought we were going to wait a little bit before we talk about my issue.
Now we can get into that later.
Because you're talking about days.
So next up, we're on Wednesday, Thursday morning, somewhere in there.
Yep.
We're driving through Indiana on 31, and it's raining really hard, and it's dark. And, occasionally I would just message back, "Hey, Duncan, how's the trailer looking?" So I message back, and I'm like, "Hey, Duncan, how's the spare tire looking? Is it still there?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, it's looking great." 2 minutes later, oh, God, it's gone. It's just gone. The whole carrier, everything, it's gone.
Yeah. I don't know how we got away without him getting hurt from that, because there's no way I don't know how he avoided it.
I don't know where it went. It looks like it was ripped straight up off the trailer, but our entire spare tire and carrier came off the trailer and somehow didn't hit Duncan, who was right behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, so
if any of our listeners see a spare tire carrier on Marketplace that looks similar to the pictures they've seen on Instagram, let us know.
And may or may not currently have a Nito Grappler 35 mud terrain on it.
Yeah, they might have separated them.
Yeah. So, that sucked.
That should have been a sign about the tire carrier being wrong. We had to ratchet strap it.
Yeah, that should have been a indicator.
Well, no, because what we had to ratchet strap was the actual tire to the carrier because it was a little loose. But that shouldn't have made the entire carrier come off the trailer.
Do you think the momentum from the tire travel up and down was enough to snap it if you hit some bumps or what? It definitely happened while you guys were driving on like an overpass or a bridge. Because you hit those parts on the bridge, your truck kind of jumps a little when you're going on.
Yeah, but we weren't.
You weren't on the.
I don't think we went over any overpasses.
No,
Yes,
yeah,
we
but
did.
like on the highway or the interstate, when you go onto the
There was that
bridges,
moment
they're
I
always
got-
raised a little bit.
There was that moment I got really squirrely. I think that's when it fell off.
I think so too.
Boom. Where was that?
We checked
A
there.
turn overpass.
Oh yeah, dude. That
Was
hit
it an
someone's
overpass?
windshield.
Yes. Because we went into this turn and the overpass was in the mid-turn.
Fuck. Oh, so we were looking in the wrong spot. It's down under the overpass.
Yeah, the hobos were like, motherfucker, they
They
They're
killed
like-
Paul.
they killed our
Like the
trash
entire-
can.
Like the entire time going down, there was a couple times where it got a little squirrely. I'm like, yeah, that's average. But that one incident was really squirrely. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
that's what it happened, was that moment.
Well, real quick, let's take a quick break from this conversation.
Hmm.
What is everybody drinking?
That alcohol, sadly.
Fresh 2025 Water Frenciola. It's
Nice,
that's
nice.
French for water from 2025.
Nice.
I got Mountain Dew Summer Freezy flavor.
Ooh,
I found in the back of my fridge the very last El Chapo.
don't you want to save that for a bad day?
Today is a bad day.
Wah, wah. Yo, by the way, for any of you Mountain Dew drinkers, Little Caesars has like a mango Mountain Dew. Really, really good.
I'm not a fan of mango flavored. Especially
Yeah, and then he
the-
Drinks El Chavo.
Oh, okay, sorry. Mountain Dew mango is different though.
I think this is the
'Cause-
only time this has been released, I think.
What's the KFC
There's
one
definitely
then?
been mango. Yeah.
Because they said it
What's
was
the KFC
exclusive.
Yellow Lightning?
Yeah.
Mellow Yellow?
No.
No, Yellow Lightning was a Mountain Dew flavor for KFC that was mango.
Oh,
That's what I thought.
yeah, no, this
It
is
Yeah.
like a
very
whole different
orange
thing.
dye, and it was stains your tongue and everything. So I never really
Yeah.
drank it. It was very
Oh,
sweet.
like high C.
All right. Well, we're off the drinks now. Back
Yeah.
to Thursday morning.
All right, so you
So, yeah.
lost a tire.
Yeah, tire carrier, it exited the chat. No idea where it's at. It's gone.
Well,
Yep.
at least you didn't
Somewhere-
appear with
so-
it and then lose it, because that'd be even more embarrassing than losing it before you even got there.
Right?
Somewhere between
Yeah.
South Bend and the first BP and McDonald's on 31.
Yeah, and driving back, I was doing like 45 in the left lane with my ditch lights on, scanning for this
Oh,
tire.
I had mine on too,
across the
trying to
highway.
scan it.
Very unfortunate.
Yep. She gone, man. She gone.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that
she's
just means
double
it's
So-
something to upgrade.
After that, we stopped, we looked at it, we're like, son of a bitch. And then we got back on the road. We made it. Did we make it into Kentucky before we had to stop for Duncan's overheating problem?
No.
Jesus. So we had to stop for like an hour somewhere. I don't even remember where. It was a really weird gas station with like all of these statues everywhere, like wizards and dragons
Bigfoot.
and Bigfoot. It was weird.
Like a tourist trap.
It was just a normal gas station with statues. It was probably Medusa's lair, to be honest.
I think we were still in Indiana when that happened.
That
But-
tracks.
Yeah, right. So we stopped, and Mark and Alan took like an hour nap. Well, we sat and waited for Duncan's truck to cool down, and then we jacked it up and we burped it for the first of many burps
Mm-hmm.
because Duncan had decided to flush his radiator just before we left.
Oh, that's...
Don't ever do
I didn't
that.
realize he did. Okay.
Don't ever do that before a big road trip. Terrible idea, guys.
Yeah, what? And he didn't burp it before?
He thought he did.
Oh, boy.
Honestly, burping isn't the problem. We had issues with it all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's trucks but mine were overheating all weekend long. What the heck, guys? So
yeah, when Alex's truck isn't low on braking, that there's something going on.
no, it's just that I finally fixed all the issues.
God, freaking idiots.
So then we got back on the road after that whole fiasco. Thank God for the tool trailer, by the way. That thing got used so much.
It got used so much. It was a godsend for a lot of us.
So we get back on the road, and now we do make it into Kentucky. And at this point, like, it was a joke between me and Kaylin that every, 20 minutes we hear someone over the radio, my truck's hot. So it was bad. So then we get into Kentucky, and Mark's like, my truck's at 235.
No,
Jesus
I didn't have overheating until way later, though.
This is when we're in Kentucky.
Yeah, not at first though.
I'm sorry.
Leatherwood is when I had the major issue.
Did I miss anything in between?
I don't think you did, but
yeah, exactly. It was a nice, calm, dry, short trip.
Short trip.
Then we get to Leatherwood, and we're climbing some mountains. We go and check in at their little station. Everything's fine. We start climbing the first mountain, and I mean almost immediately, the minute our tires hit dirt, my truck's hot.
What temperature was it down there? 80s?
Yeah, 80s.
Yeah.
Hotter than it's been around here.
We were at 2,000 feet above sea level, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, trucks weren't used to it.
And climbing.
Yeah.
Climbing's the problem.
And the longest haul with trailer for my truck.
Yeah, I don't think that caused it.
I didn't think
have
so
issues
either.
until we got there.
No, I know.
It's probably elevation.
And not even elevation, but change in elevation. So as you're climbing a hill, you're not going fast, but you're exuding more RPM, which causes the truck to then get warm.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going up the hill, and we're like the last turn before a camp, and Mark just stops because his truck's too hot. And I keep going. I was ready to be at camp and see what all our sleeping situations were and all that. So I kept going. It was like a quarter of a mile from where they were to camp. Not even. It was like 500 feet. It was right around the corner.
No.
So I'm up there. I'm already getting my tent off the roof and everything. And I hear over the radio, which, mind you, they watched where I went, right? Like, they could easily see where I turned.
I don't think Duncan was paying attention.
I hear over the radio, did you go through all those rocks? And I'm like, or no, how do we get there? And I'm like, you turn right and go. And he goes, well, I don't think the trailer can get through there. And as he's saying this, I'm looking at broke to built or busted to built. I'm looking at busted to built's dually with a car hauler, right? So I know that our little off-road trailer can make it up this hill. So I hop in the truck. I go get him. He wanted to go straight through the playground. The trailer was not going through the playground.
So it wasn't that. It was the trail directly across from the entrance. I think, which is the Pack Your Lunch or whatever it was. The little Rock Creek. I think that was the Rock Creek obstacle trail for that one. I just remember
the one that he was talking. The one he was talking about. It was the playground.
Okay.
Well, so you get to camp. You guys get everyone finally to camp, and then, camp pretty smooth as far as getting that set up once you got there, or what?
Yeah, it took me 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys eat that night?
What did we eat?
I think that night's the night we had walking tacos.
No.
Steak. It was steak.
Nice. So, pretty uneventful night as far as that goes. What about next morning? What kind of trails you guys do?
We did a little late night trail ride.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Give me 1 second. I'm getting to a point where I can tell you trail numbers. Okay, so the trail that Duncan wanted to take the trailer on was called Welcome to the Jungle.
That's right.
And it's a playground. So we were actually camped on 103B, I want to say.
Sounds about right. I didn't think it was B, though. I thought it was just the main trail.
No, it was definitely... Give me a second. Yeah, it's 103B. Because if you go straight, you go into Welcome to the Jungle on 106. But if you turn right, you go on 103B. And that's definitely where we were at. And then... so we were camping right there in a little clearing that they made for us. Honestly, it was a beautiful campsite. Mountainy, so not perfectly level, but you don't really want that in the mountains because then when it rains, all the water sits, which even though they had lots of drainage, I will tell you, it got very muddy.
Yes,
like
it was
so
a muddy mess.
Muddy.
We actually did trail before that night. Forgot about that because we went up the hill.
That's where I was just getting to.
Yep.
So then we went up after getting camp set up. We decided to go explore a little bit, and right off of camp, there's a trail called 103B. It's the same trail camp is on, but it continues up the mountain a little bit. So we follow that up, and mind you, this is our first experience of trails at Leatherwood, right? It was like straight up. It's a blue trail. It was like straight up the hill on a ridge where you're looking down over like a 4,000-foot drop off.
Yep.
And you're just making these super tight turns where your tire is on the edge of the trail the whole way.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yes,
then
it was very wild.
We come around a corner and we come up to 103E. Now, 103E is only special and worth being brought up because it was like an 86-degree angle, like literally straight up the mountain, and the backside of it, right? So you turn off of 103, and 103 directly to your right is a 4,000-foot drop-off. You turn to your left, and it's immediately like an 86-degree angle.
Yep.
I don't know who the hell can go up this trail because it is just straight up with a drop-off right behind you.
Yep. Those are the black ones, right? The black diamonds?
Well, that one was a double red, but...
Oh, I must be thinking of the other one. I'm thinking the part where there was 2 black diamonds and we went down the rest of the main trail.
Yeah, that one is 103C and 103B. But yeah, I backed up 103C. It's marked a black trail, not on Onyx, but at their site. A lot of the trails are not marked by Onyx, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, and not marked properly.
Correct. So I backed up 103C to get out of the way, and honestly, it's marked a black trail. I did it backwards. It wasn't a problem. And then we finished out down 102 and just kind of took the main trail back to camp because Mark's truck was getting warm.
That wasn't warm yet.
Yeah, you were.
No.
That was the main reason we went back. Your truck was starting to get warm. You were well past the middle point.
Not that day.
Or was it Duncan's truck?
That was Duncan's.
No, it was your truck.
I didn't have overheating until the next day.
Whatever. Mark's truck overheated a lot. Duncan's truck overheated a lot. I'm not going to try and distinguish whose was whose. Someone's truck got hot.
There you go. I think we just went back to camp, but whatever.
No, someone's truck got warm because I wanted to keep going and we had to go back so that someone could figure out why their truck was warm. Doesn't matter.
We burped Duncan.
Okay.
That's what
so then we get back to camp and we burp whatever truck was warm. I'm not distinguishing anymore. We burp whatever truck was warm and we just kind of chilled after that because we realized we might be in over our head. However, I wasn't ready to be done. So we ate dinner.
Yep.
And we went back out and we took... Oh, this was the only day you really wheeled, isn't it?
Yes. That's why I said I didn't have overheating the first day. It was just going into camp I had issues.
So we took, I don't even remember what trail we took. Let me figure that out real quick. We took a trail, whichever one it was.
I want to say 105, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, because 105B was the easy trail. You're right. So we went down to 105, and we took 105 around, and then there's a short section of 105, and then it becomes 105B. Now, 105B is marked green. So, and we had decided to stick on green trails just to kind of get a feel for the park. So we get up to 105B, and it is just a straight, wet clay, muddy hill. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, it was wild. I drove right up it.
Mm-hmm.
I had no issue. Neither Mark or Duncan could get their trucks to go up this hill.
Yeah.
No idea why. So they backed down, and they continued on 105, and I continued on 105B because I saw that they meet up farther. Remind you, 105B is marked green. 105 is marked blue.
Mm-hmm.
105 should be marked green, and 105B should be marked blue.
Yep.
I went up probably 6 or 7 more muddy, clay, messy hills
Trevor,
before I came.
Yep. I was going to say,
before
was
I
this based
came
off of Onyx
down.
or no?
Yeah, I'm basing off Onyx.
Yep.
Which even there, the trail was marked green on the sign.
Oh, I thought it was blue.
No, they got those two backwards. So then I come down the hill, meet back up with them, and we followed around 105, which turns into 104, I believe. And that was an awesome freaking trail.
Yes.
Then we went back to camp and, sat around the fire for a little bit. No, we didn't even sit around the fire. We sat around and then went to bed.
Yep.
All right. So now, Mark, you can talk about day number 2 so that I don't mess up when your truck overheated.
Day number 2, we had our driver's meeting first thing in the morning, which was not needed.
Yeah. And they came around at like 8:30 on a freaking mini bike. Wake up. Everybody needs to get up.
So then we distinguished who was going what groups, which was hards, medium to hards, and easy. There was like 2 medium to hard groups, 1 easy group, and then 1 hard group, which was mostly the Jeeps.
And let's be honest, the hard group and our medium hard group did the exact same freaking trails.
Oh, 100%. Same exact trails. And unfortunately, the easy group also did the same trails that day.
Not all the same trails, because they didn't do any blacks. We did some blacks.
Okay, sorry. The first day, the only ones that didn't was part of the main group that went out there and got stuck later, which we'll explain more later, was the other medium hard group, because they never touched that trail that day.
Yeah.
Everyone else did. But we decided to go back, do the same trail we did the night before. We actually ended up going down a different route the first time, and we managed to loop back to the actual route. We had us guys, the botches, and then we had what was the Jeep? The orange Jeep.
Chris Ironside.
Yep, that's right.
He's really cool. His family.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
He went
Chris
with
is
the cryptid hunt. He was he's the one that actually stayed all weekend with us.
Yep. So we went back, tackled that hill. I got it up that time. And then after getting up, and we're still climbing more hills, I started having more heating issues.
Yeah, okay, that's where it's happened.
Yep. So eventually,
I'll
let you take over now.
So we take Mark back to camp, and what did we do first? Did we try burping your truck?
Yes.
Yeah, because you bent your license plate on the hill.
I'm a true off-roader now.
We tried burping Mark's truck, and it let some air out, but nothing crazy. And we hadn't done anything with it, so it didn't make sense that it needed burped.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the only thing was that I added coolant the week before, so...
Yeah, but that's not going to make it so it needs burped.
No.
So then we got headed out, and we went out to the main road, which we were going to take, which is Kentucky Highway 699.
Yep.
And we got on the highway, and we made it, I don't know, like not even out of Leatherwood yet. And Mark started complaining about his truck getting warm.
Yep.
So at that point, I wasn't going to ruin everyone else's wheeling trip just to figure out Mark's problem. So I was like, Mark, can you make it back to camp? Like, can you do this on your own? And I sent him back.
Yep.
I feel bad because I didn't know what we were about to get into, but
yeah,
what'd you guys do at camp? Let's let you do that, and then I'll get into the rest.
We'll do that real quick. So I spent most of the day trying to diagnose what could be wrong. We went from thermostat. Oh, I think that was the other thing. Didn't we remove my thermostat that day, or was it the following day?
That was the next day.
Okay, I was trying to remember. Yeah, you're right. So we were going through the list of what could be wrong. Worst case was a head gasket, which I really hope it wasn't. But we got to tearing down and realized that my back of my radiator was packed full of mud for over the last year. It was just coated, like almost 2 inches off the actual radiator. That's how badly coated it was.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Didn't know about
your radiator?
Not the backside where the fan shroud covers it.
Yeah. Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah. So we spent almost 2 hours, because it's like an hour drive to get to the nearest town that has a car wash, which was another fiasco. Spent forever trying to find a car wash that actually worked or had a wand. Got that figured out. Not overheating the entire time getting there. Washed it out, went back, didn't have any issues. So I was like, oh, I fixed my issue. It was just packed full of mud. I had to get clean. We got back and found the rest of them chilling at camp. And then they told me about their experience for the day.
Yeah. So we had been told to take Trail 232 at a certain time, which is roughly the time that we were headed out that way. So we went out to Trail 232. Now, 232 is supposed to be just
a green trail.
I had to... yeah. So 232 was a green trail. Actually, Derek told us if we wanted it to be a little harder to take 232 into 233 instead of turning at 233. Okay, that's good advice, right? So we take 232. There's some hill climbs, nothing crazy. We get up to the top of the world, which is drop dead gorgeous. Like, it's their top of the world, not the real top of the world. So, like, not that pretty, but still really pretty. And coming out of top of the world is a very long hill climb. Very long. We went down it. So we go down the hill climb and come up to a set of stairs. We go down the stairs. I turn around, go back up the stairs, and then go down the stairs again. They were beautiful. We continue on, and roughly, I'd say almost at the halfway point of the trail, we run into the Easy group, who, mind you, was supposed to be done with this loop already. They were not supposed to be there anymore. So we run into them, and it's one lane. There's no way off the road. So we fiascoed and figured out a way to get them past us and talked to Derek a little bit. And he's like, man, we've been through like 6 tires. Like, it's a mess down there. Good luck. It's really hard. And, we're not scared. It sounds fun to us. But he had 15 trucks, none of which, they were overlanders. They're not wheelers. They're not built for it.
Yep.
And
yeah, I think that's the first disclaimer that you want to put out there. This is the Easy group, which means they're not set up to do what Alex and Mark can do. Yeah. Disclaimer before Alex tells you this path was easy. And then you had no issues.
Oh, it was easy.
That's what I'm saying.
Not lifted to degree and then overweighted.
Yeah. So, like, one of them had an Illumicab with a built-in rooftop tent, like Mitchell McPherson Media. Yeah.
Yep.
So, rigs that do not belong in tight quarters, do not belong on rocks.
Yep.
And when we ran into him, I'm like, hey, Derek, you guys should turn around. Like, you're not going to make it if you keep going. And he's like, oh, it can't be that bad. You have no idea what you're getting into. And I'm like, fair enough, you know? And so we continue on. And now at this point, we kind of, you know, they've gone past us and they've got, they probably had less than we did to do at this point. I think they only had like a mile of trail left or so. Like it wasn't much. So we continue on and we drop down into the creek, which, by the way, absolutely beautiful. We drove through a creek for like 2 miles. It was, oh my God.
I've seen some videos of that when Derek was researching. It looks gorgeous.
Can't even put into words how pretty this place was. And as we're going through this creek, I realized they could not have turned around because they went down a bunch of wet stairs. They went down wet waterfalls. They went down all the stuff that we were going up. And it was no problem for us, but these guys had no clearance. Like their best route out of that was to go up the hill climb. That was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So we, we're playing in the creek a little bit and all of a sudden it gets pitch black. Like cannot see, had to turn lights on, pitch black. And at this point, we run into the Jeeps and we're like, man, a cloud must have went over the sun or something. Like, this is wild. Remember, we're in a creek in the bottom of a mountain valley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking to the Jeeps. We're standing outside the trucks. And all of a sudden, we hear a loud crack, boom, psh, as a tree comes running down the mountain directly at us. Like, we were in a terrible spot as a thunderstorm hit.
Yeah.
So instead of hanging out and playing in the creek, which I could have done for hours, man, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We start making our way out and a really funny moment. We come up to a waterfall and there's all these Jeeps parked in my way. And they're all like having a little bit of a trouble getting up this waterfall, you know, and down it. And, I just yell out my window, if all these Jeeps could get out of my fucking way, I'd make it up, or I'd get out of this creek. I just drove up it without a problem. It's just like, I hope someone got it on video because it was just so perfect. The whole scene was so funny.
Yeah.
So we meander through this creek and then we come up to, at this point, we thought that there had been trees that fell down behind the Jeeps blocking their way through the creek.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of, we drove over them, worked our way through them, and it was tight, but we got through it. Well, come to find out, all those trees had been there the whole time, and everyone else went around them. So we went through a harder, like, quarter mile of creek that no one else had been through that day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was beautiful, man. We're talking stairs that are better than Marblehead with water running over them.
Right.
Like, really hard wheeling in that section. The rest of the creek was just meh. It was pretty. That was about it.
Right.
So then we get out of the creek. There's a couple more little hill climbs, nothing crazy. And we come around to where 233 meets back up with 232. They're a drive, like a loop trail, you know? And I was expecting to at least see some Jeeps there, you know? Some Jeeps, maybe the easy group, something. There's nobody. At this point, Duncan announces that his truck is overheating and is at 230, like 236. So we kind of stop. We let his truck cool down for a little bit, probably 20 minutes of that. Then we got back on the trail, continued back to camp. And again, I'm expecting for all the other groups to be done, right? So we get back to camp around 5. We left around 2:30. So what's that, 3 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
Then Mark and Alan show up. And then we wait another 6 hours for the rest of the groups to come back.
Yeah.
They had ran out of gas. They had to winch almost all of these overland built rigs up that hill climb because none of them could do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, then plus with the thunderstorm and the rain hitting, that probably didn't help for a muddy clay hill climb that was already hard to begin with.
That one wasn't muddy and clay. That one was just straight rock. That one wouldn't have been bad with the thunderstorm. And most of that thunderstorm was under their elevation point.
Gotcha. Just say, because, that would have been even worse at that point.
So it wasn't that the hill climb was hard. It's just that they're not built for it. They're built for like a Sunday drive down a forest road and go camping. That's it. Which, that's fine. That's awesome. That's a fun time.
You're kind of underselling some of these vehicles. I mean, not all of them. They're just not built as stoutly as yours is for doing bigger stuff.
You know, man.
And then I think some of it is an experience issue.
The majority of these rigs that were in the easy group, they're maybe an inch of lift. They might have a rear locker, maybe. And yeah, there's an experience part to it too. But the big thing is they're overloaded to hell. I had nothing in my truck.
Right.
My truck was the weight of a 4Runner. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're not impressive rigs. They're not well built. None of that.
No, it was just the way it was like, they're not built for off-road. Well, they're built for certain applications off-road. They're just not built for crawling like you do.
They're not built for this terrain.
Yeah, that's better. It's just the way you said it. It's how it's said.
They're built for a standard forest road in the Daniel Boone National Forest, which in Michigan is like a blue trail. So it's not like here where a forest road is nice and flat. A forest road there is a hard trail here. And that's more what they're built for, which is fine. I mean, their trucks are cool and awesome. But Derek took them into the worst place he could have. Like, they were so out of their depth.
Well, yeah. I mean, he had no way of scouting it before either.
No, he didn't.
So, I mean, everyone went into these trails blind.
Oh, I think it's funny. Oh, so we had this one group of ladies show up. I'm not going to release names or even what they were driving, but I will tell you that they had the most capable vehicle for the terrain in that group. Like, very much so. But the driver of that vehicle had to pull over and cry several times because she was so overwhelmed with what was going on.
Yeah.
And they actually packed up and went home that day.
Yeah.
You have to tell about
the following day,
who it was on off air. But
they didn't stick around for the rest of the week.
Yeah. So, and it was funny. She's like, I've done a whole bunch of trips in Tennessee, and this is so much worse. Yeah. So it was funny. Not funny. It was funny. Let's be honest. I didn't like them, so it was funny. But yeah, dude, it's a beautiful trail. The 232 to 233 loop. If you've got a vehicle that can do it comfortably, you should do it. I'm not going to recommend a Tacoma with an Alua cab on it because that's way too much for this trail.
Yeah, was his 4-wheel? Couldn't remember.
Yeah, all of them were 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Oh, you know who it was? What's the girl that's got the Tacoma? I forget.
JD? JD's is 4-wheel drive.
I thought she said hers was 2-wheel because it was an SR5 or something.
No, hers is
4-wheel too.
Mm-hmm.
Someone I'll have to double check, but someone
Becker's the only one with a 4-wheel. It's actually 2-wheel drive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to double check because someone only had 2-wheel drive that had a Tacoma, but it was pretty built.
The trail that took us like 2.5, 3 hours took the Easy Group and the Jeeps almost, like, the Jeeps probably about 6.5 hours because they got stuck behind the other group.
Yeah,
the other group, it took them 12 hours. And that, my friends, is why I don't wheel with 15 people most of the time.
Beginners.
Yeah.
Even so, I would hate a group of 15 trucks, dude. That's just too much.
Not all of them were beginners.
No, not at all. Now, that being said, I don't think anyone in that group had any experience in mountains. I think that a lot of people came into this trip and just kind of jumped in without expecting it to actually be harder.
Well, I mean, again, it was an easy trail. So what do you, from your experience, as someone who off-roads in Michigan, going on an easy trail is just that easy. So you don't have the experience. So Mark, you're saying they're experienced, but they're experienced in Michigan. They're not experienced in other places.
So,
and
that's why,
overloaded vehicles.
That's why going into this trip, me and Brian had several times told people, expect the green trails to be closer to a Michigan blue or black, because green to them is hard to most of Michigan.
Yep.
To me, there was nothing that we did on a blue or a black, green trail was really all that hard.
No.
But I have the experience. I've done it before.
Right. That's what I was going to say. You've been. It's hard. It's hard hearing this in the way, because I know Alex has a shitload of experience in places that aren't Michigan. So it's like I hope people understand that he's not like shitting on you the way that he's talking. He's just trying to explain the situation, that it wasn't what people thought it was going to be. They didn't have quite the right experience, and they weren't ready for things how they were.
I'm not shitting on anybody.
I just want people to make sure that and understand that, because it can sound like that when you're trying to explain the facts. It can.
Right.
Alex has a way of making it almost sound like that, but he's not trying to.
No, not at all.
He's just explaining the facts. The fact is that there were people that had no experience in this kind of terrain in this state. They were overloaded, and they weren't built for this type of terrain, and that ended up in the downfall.
Not that they weren't built. I mean, like, I'll pick on Mitchell a little bit because I know he's got a backbone and he listens. Mitchell's truck is incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that Mitchell had too many issues in that situation, but those trails were so tight that I guarantee you he was scraping the hell out of that Alua cab.
Yeah.
He was looking for an easy trail, and so he went with the easy group, but I don't think that was quite the trail he was expecting to be on, especially at Rebecca.
I think the at the end of the day, the main issue is that maybe some of the main group should have had a day to get there before everyone else and should have scouted these trails to decide. But the other issue is
Derek should have sent an actual higher group to the trail he wanted to do before he went to it. Because he took the easy group out there before anyone else had been there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the other half of this is that a lot of people are going off of Onyx and what Leatherwood says, and that was proven not to really be true already from what Alex has said. So they didn't have accurate trail readings to tell the conditions, which is probably the biggest issue. I think if Derek or anybody else who was trying to make sure this was an easy time, if they had known that the trails weren't accurate, then that would have caused them to maybe think about scouting or to send someone up there. But when you look at the experience on Onyx for us in Michigan, green is green, blue is blue for the most part. And in Leatherwood, that just wasn't really the case. I mean, it's hard with Onyx because people can take it in a complete, fully built Jeep, and take it and go, that was easy. And in Kentucky, the trails are a different level. So for that Jeep who has experience in it saying that's easy, is going to be a whole lot different from an out-of-stater and typical used to green trails of Michigan. So that's kind of a major issue Onyx has in general when you're looking at their trails.
And really, it's just trail ratings in general everywhere are like that. It doesn't matter if it's Onyx. It doesn't matter what it is, because if I do a trail here in Michigan, I have to really think about what I want to mark it as, because to me, they're all green.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We've never gone down a trail here that I would consider even a 5 out of 10,
Yeah.
I mean, there have been situations where it's a little bit more, but the overall trail rating, you can't do it off of a 10-foot section. You can't rate a blue off of a 10-foot section.
And if you know how I wheel in Michigan, I go out of my way to make things harder for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I might do a hill climb and 2-wheel drive, not because I need to, but because I'm bored and I want to try it.
Right.
So I've gotten myself in situations in Michigan, but 9 times out of 10, it's because I'm messing around because I can.
Yep.
And down there, I will tell you, I picked the easiest lines I could. Like, I was not looking for hard lines this trip.
Yeah,
because
of course,
I knew
you have to drive back too.
Right. And I knew that the wheeling down there was going to be way harder than what we deal with here. And that definitely, I'm going back. It was some of the best wheeling I've ever had.
What do you think I could have got through most of that too?
You actually stuck to green and not, I wouldn't say, I'm not sure about the other. That'd be his question for that one. But I'd say mostly greens you could have gone through.
I think that you could have kept up with me if you had a driver mod. Your truck could have kept up with me. But you would need a lot of warming up to some of the stuff we did to have the experience to know what to do.
Oh,
not that you're a bad driver.
No, I know what you're saying.
You're a great driver. But there was stuff that we did that you would have had to done before and know how to do it to be able to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm fully aware of that. I mean, I have, for Michigan, I have good enough experience in Michigan that I can handle just about anything now. That now, a year ago, I would have puckered up on some of the off-camber things now that I just drive right through without thinking about anymore.
An off-camber here in Michigan is not off-camber.
Right. No. It's just more of so people understand, though. So, and so, I mean, I completely understand that driver experience is probably the biggest. I mean, you can have a darn near stock vehicle, and if you have plenty of experience, you can pick the right line and get through some things, better than others. But that's been proven by people with darn near stock Lexuses that have been in our group that have taken better lines than my truck, and then me almost, sliding down a hill or something.
And like I said, your truck in general, man, it would have done great out there. The way it is now, maybe take some stuff off your roof. That'd probably be my only recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's pushing branches, I don't care. I can push the antenna backwards.
I know,
and I have
let me put it this way.
Trees.
So you know how I used to have a roof rack on my truck, nice factory roof rack?
Oh yeah.
I don't anymore.
Yeah.
Because of the branches.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just one branch.
It's not a matter of you can push branches out of the way. If you've got stuff on the roof and you're wheeling like we were, you're gonna break it.
Yeah.
I'm still confused why you didn't go around that branch. Everyone else did.
Because I thought I fit under it. Everyone else went around it because they saw me break it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I hit a branch on that Grayling's shakedown camp. It was I say branch. It was a tree that fell over the trail, but not all the way.
That's what it says too.
Yeah, and this was a 5-inch tree, and I hit that, and you could hear it go.
I don't want to admit.
Shit.
I don't want to admit that I hit like a 10-inch branch
yeah.
off a much larger tree that fell, but this tree was significantly larger.
Yeah.
Like the branch was about yay big around.
Yeah, okay. Anything on your roof isn't going to stay if you hit a fucking tree like that.
And there were a lot of those. That's why I said you should take the stuff off your roof.
Could you have navigated around it?
Yes,
that particular instant, yes.
Yeah.
But there were other times when I couldn't have.
Because that's important too.
In that particular instance, I could have.
Yeah, I mean,
overall, the wheeling down there, I'm not going to say it's hard because it's not hard. You just need the experience for it to not be hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can think of places in Arizona, I can think of places in Sierra Vista alone that to the guys there at Leatherwood, it would be like a triple red.
Right.
Like almost impassable.
I think when you speak about the trails, because you're so used to it, you have to speak more objectively about this. Because like when you say they're not hard, we have listeners that are like, well, maybe I should go to Leatherwood next year. Maybe I should try this. And then they get there and they're like, yeah, this is nothing compared to what he was saying. They are hard. They're just not hard for Alex.
If you don't have the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, these are the hardest trails I've ever done in an IFS rig. And I'll tell you right now, I miss my solid axle. That sucked.
There you go.
But If it was solid axle, dude, I'd have been crawling over all of it without giving a flying fuck.
I don't know. I got pretty good experience now. I play Mud Runner Expeditions. I think I could probably handle it.
But overall, Leatherwood is beautiful. There's nothing in Michigan that compares to the beauty that you experience down there.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, what about the Western UP? Is anything up there?
The Western UP is beautiful and one of my favorite places on earth. It's not as pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm accounting for trail difficulty in my statement.
Oh,
here.
okay. See, I'm just talking about views and
actual looks,
just scenery.
Leatherwood is still prettier, but
Sure.
not near as much prettier as it is when you account for trail difficulty.
Yeah. I'm excited. I would love to try this fall-ish to go to where we were talking about earlier down in Ohio. What was it? The Hocking Hills.
Yeah, it's
it looks like it's going to be kind of the similar type of terrain. Probably not as hard, but
it looks like it's going to be a cakewalk compared to Leatherwood. Like I can't, because of how cameras make everything look so much more flat.
yeah.
I can't put into words how not flat this place was.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Built to not be easy either.
Yeah.
as it
And
being a
that's-
park, which is nice.
That's the other well, and it's not all that. A lot of the more difficult stuff that we were dealing with, it wasn't even park-built trails. It was service trails for, like, pipelines and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
And that was hard.
What was the hardest type of terrain? Was it the shelves? I mean, as far as clearance and getting through it. I mean,
Clay.
you're talking the clearance
Clay.
in general.
Clay.
Yeah.
Clay was the hardest.
Well, then that's where MTs would probably do much better. Being able to shed that clay or what?
I don't think so, because it's clay on like a 45 to 70 degree angle. Like,
It doesn't matter or what?
no, you're going to slide. I almost think all terrains would be better because there's more surface area.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there's also more surface area. You're more likely to slide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was just slick.
Yeah.
Once it got wet, dude,
Gavin, the first night when I was trying to tip the hill climb, I had my brakes locked, and all of a sudden I realized my truck was going backwards in drive and brakes locked.
Right.
That's
yeah.
how clay it was.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was fun. I want to go back. I kind of want to move there. I'm kind of looking for jobs down there.
Yeah. So it's safe to say you fell in love with that type of terrain and area, or?
It was nice because it was the difficulty I remember from Arizona, but it was green. I don't know. Because I like Arizona desert too. It'd be kind of nice to live like an hour from Leatherwood and be able to just go every weekend.
Right.
Yeah, just pay for the yearly pass.
Yep. Now, all that being said, I have recently learned about a trail up in the northwestern UP called Colorado Rapids.
Oh, yep.
It is not on any map.
Mm-hmm.
And I may or may not have acquired some coordinates for it. And I do plan on going to do it because it looks like some of the best wheeling you can do in Michigan.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff on that. I had someone message me who, we won't be giving names because this is not a trail for everyone, but this is one of those hidden gems that stay hidden. But
Yep.
For a reason. So, yeah, I was looking at that too. I was hoping to be able to get up and do the Western Michigan UP exploration, but if that doesn't happen, I might try that some other time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I love Michigan. I love Michigan trails. I understand they're not all that hard because guess what? They're not. But it's something about wheeling in Michigan is special to me. So it's hard for me to just say, fuck Michigan trails and go do something else. Because the big thing in Michigan, it's mostly mud. So I don't know.
I was going to say the hardest parts in Michigan are the ruts, the mud ruts. There's Off camber stuff, not super bad. I mean, there's nothing really bad at all, but it's the rock isn't bad until you get into UP, and then it's still not bad. It's just more.
Yep.
So it's the ruts that and for me, as someone who doesn't like trashing my rig on purpose, to like go through those mud pits that some guy in a $800 XJ went through and just trashed it, I would bury my frame. I mean, I'd just sit right there, turtle on the frame because of that. So it's not worth the issue. Other than that, Michigan trails are beautiful. They're just not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing to think about is I was reminded how much better wheeling with a manual is when we were there. Now, in Michigan, I would say an automatic is way better because you just put it in drive and go. But if I had had a manual this over the weekend, it would have been so nice. Just throw it in 4 low, throw it in 2, and just let it walk down the hill.
Yep.
And because, I mean, I can go to 4 low 1 or 4 low 2 on the Forerunner, but it's not the same level of control as what you get with a manual.
Yeah, because you can let off and on the clutch.
Right.
Right.
And not just that, I mean, you've got more gearing that you can choose from in a manual than what you do in an automatic.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to Chris, because I believe his Wrangler's manual.
Yep.
Because he accidentally stalled on one of the hill climbs we were doing.
He did with us too.
I was like, you good? Because I thought he was slipping. It was the steeper hill climbs. I mentioned it before. And he was like, oh, yeah, yep, just gotta... And then he popped right back in and came up. And just got to put it in 4-wheel drive.
I wasn't necessarily talking about Chris, but I'm definitely jealous of Chris because I'll tell you that my brakes suffered this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, and Chris has got a really nice setup. Do you take his wife too?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
She is freaking awesome.
Yeah, she is. She gave us biscuits and gravy. The MRE, or the dehydrated meals, she gave us them because she hates them, and I was like, I've never been so lucky because that's like our favorite breakfast.
So I will kind of very off topic. So I'm looking at the Onyx in Michigan. Why do they have Yankee Springs marked as a blue trail?
Maybe they don't. Whoever drove did. That's like the issue.
It's like that's what I'm saying, right? Like, to me, that's like a 1 out of 10, like one of the easiest trails you can do. And they have it marked as a.
I was just say,
4.
Did you check? Oh my God!
Yeah, because of deep water crossings. There are no deep water crossings.
There must have been in the spring or something.
I mean, I don't know, but. You know, that's the problem with the whole trail rating thing in general. It's so objective that you don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Onyx is, and this is not to scare you from Onyx. Onyx is an amazing tool, but it's also not the whole tool in your toolbox, right? I mean, like there are other things that you should utilize. There are other ways that you should check these trails out if you've never been to them. And if it starts getting too choppy, then play it safe, dude. I mean, there's your pride isn't so important that you need to break your rig to try to get through something that you're not comfortable getting through. So
I think Leatherwood themselves marked the trail properly. It's just Onyx went through with ambassadors and they decided it was a totally different rating from what they had thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the issue, you know? You get a Jeep on 42s that can pretty much do everything in Michigan 2-wheel drive. Yeah, it's all green, and if they can just crawl through, I mean, there might be a user from Leatherwood who is also one of the Onyx members who's been on that trail 80 fucking times and goes, yeah, this is easy as hell, rates it as that, doesn't think twice about it, and then someone comes in out of state and goes, holy shit. Or it could have been a guy on a side-by-side. They tend to have more clearance. I mean, they don't have bigger tires, but they tend to have more clearance. they can get through some of these obstacles a little better.
I think that to fix this problem, what Onyx really needs to do is the people that set the trail ratings all need to drive a similar rig. Just for shits and giggles, let's say a bone stock, not modified at all, Wrangler JK.
I think, to best of both worlds there, I think there should be a description and a list of mods of popular or performance-changing mods that you have to put under your vehicle. So if it says, okay, this is a blue trail done by a lifted Jeep with cutout fenders, 42s, and, off-road tire winch, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is green to him. This might be blue to me then. That kind of thing. You can gauge it by what people are driving most of the time. Like if someone says, hey, this trail's green, and they show pictures of giant mud ruts, and they're driving an $800 XJ with the fenders cut out, you're like, okay, this might not be a green trail for me then. So, I mean,
all right.
knowing the vehicle would be the help.
Yeah, for sure. We are at 1 hour. Let's split it here and record another one that will go into the rest of the trip.
Yep.
All right.
So
we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Catch you guys, for us, in like 15 minutes tops. For you guys, it'll be Tuesday, I hope.
Yeah.
Life is crazy right now.
Right.
So, all right. Catch you guys later.
Later.
Well, that was part 1. I hope you enjoyed your Dice Thursday episode that you definitely got on Thursday and was not released on, at this point, Wednesday with the other one. Man, I'm way behind on this. But anyways, coming up is part 2. If you want to go get a drink or take a poop or take a break, this would be the time to do it. Just hit pause, go do your thing. I will get that going right now. Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Join us as we talk about everything from gear reviews to trail stories. I'm going to interrupt the intro right here. This is the, I'm not doing the whole thing for part 2. Screw that.
Yeah. And he's coughing.
Yeah. So, this is part 2 for our Leatherwood adventure. I'm sorry if I got loud and echoey. I'm very excited. It was a great trip. And
still
I'm a
loud
little drunk.
and echoey still.
Use
your
I'm also
voice.
a little, I'm a little drunk, so that's going to happen.
Drunk and rowdy.
I am it has been a week, my friend. I've been back for 2 days, and I'll tell you I'm ready to go back. So, what day are we at?
Saturday.
Did we make it? We made it through Friday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We didn't talk about Derek coming back to camp and how he was looking for stuff.
What was he looking for? Oh, yeah. Oh my God. So we're sitting around the fire just kind of chilling, right? And Chris keeps coming over and saying they need gas. They need this. Luckily, there were enough people down there that they were able to get themselves out without help, because we were like 2 hours from making it to them, and it would have been a whole fiasco.
Yep.
But they had everything. They just had to just spread it out amongst everyone in the valley.
Yep.
I kind of wish that we had someone, not necessarily Joe Yamber. I want someone like Ed. Ed would have been great to have on here to give us his perspective of that trail.
I think we should have one of them on at a later date just to talk about their perspective of what happened and why it happened like that.
Mm-hmm. I just know when we're sitting around the fire and they came back, there were a lot of salty people. They had such a long day.
Yeah, that's
I
rough.
guess there were people like yelling at Derek. Like they were so mad about what was going on.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's hard. That's a hard day.
Yeah. It's
The tensions rise.
With with 3 to 5 rigs, you can have a hard day like that and everyone's still buddy-buddy. It was fine.
Yep.
But once you reach that 10-plus mark, that's a lot of personalities going through something pretty rough.
Not only that, and it's like one person breaks down, you stop the whole fucking group. And the more cars you add, the more probability that someone's going to break down, get stuck, have to pee, have to get their dog out to pee, whatever. So you add all
Get
that.
a flat.
Yeah, you add all that with the people that are just antsy to get out on the trail, people that are tired of others getting stuck, people are tired of getting stuck. You know, it's perfect storm. So, I mean, and then again, it takes them another 6 hours to get through the trail. So yeah, I mean, I would not doubt there was a lot of tired, irritable people, and I can't imagine, hey, wives, sorry, but I can't imagine the wives were entirely pleasant to be with during that time.
There was definitely one guy who none of us had met before. I'm not going to say what he drives or his name, but all I heard was that his girlfriend was an absolute peach the entire trip. That him alone was annoying, but you add her and it was like next level.
Yeah, I still want to know when you guys when we go off here. I gotta know who to stay away from. That's very interesting. But I mean, like again, like it happens. So everybody got to camp. They're super salty. They're tired. They're probably very hungry. What do we got next?
The rest is kind of a blur because I drank a lot of beer and got pretty drunk.
I think everyone took
you the rowdy camp again.
So when we were some of the first ones there, and I picked our camp spot and said we need to put the kids on the other end, and then the Jeeps got there and took where we wanted to put the kids.
Yeah.
Because I knew that there was no way in hell we were going to be quiet past 10.
Yeah, you should.
I don't think we were that loud to begin with.
We weren't. We were up.
You're just naturally louder when you get excited. So, as the listeners
100%.
can hear. So
yeah,
but
we were up until 3.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
I hit 1 a.m. with Nolan during kids camp or spring shakedown, and I was like, all right, we need to go to fucking bed. So 3 a.m. is just too crazy. But the kid slept through it. Like, he had such a long day running around that it was like he could have slept through fireworks. He was cool.
And then now we're on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to bed at 3. By the way, swag, phenomenal purchase. That was some of the best camping I've ever had because it was just comfortable. I didn't have to worry about anything. When it rained, I knew I wasn't getting wet.
You didn't feel the rocks.
Yeah, I was right on rocks and we couldn't feel them. I mean, it was great.
So you spend the money, you do the research, and you actually might improve your quality of sleep and camp setup. Crazy.
Yeah,
It's like we've been telling you that.
Oh, I knew that. I just wasn't ready to spend the money. I finally was there.
So it's a revolutionary.
I would say that sleeping in the $100 12-person tent, honestly, way more comfortable just because I use an inflatable cot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it usually is.
But because of ease of setup, swag, 100%. Best thing I've ever bought.
Yeah.
I think us pivoting from having these giant crates that filled with everything and then having tents to something that's way more easier to set up and throw out has changed how we've been doing stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the Packout trailer, absolute fucking game changer, man.
Yep.
There were a lot of breakdowns other than just ours in the MST group, and the trailer just kind of became a hub for people to come get tools.
Yep. We had Mario was realigning his upper control arms.
Yeah, people are going to get real salty when I stop putting the massive amount of tools I have in my truck because that thing has been the hub for most people when I'm out and something breaks. It's easily accessible. There's pretty much everything you'd need. Grinder, oscillating saw, your impacts, wrenches, everything. I mean, it's going to be...
Which you still should definitely carry, because the minute that you don't, you're going to need it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't need, like, the massive amount of standard sockets and wrenches. Most of what I'm doing is metric. And then...
stick with metrics.
We don't even carry.
We're going to start trying to carry our own, but it's going to be, like, very specific of what we need at the time, and it stays in the rig.
Yeah. I mean...
We don't carry standard anymore. We just carry metric.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is I can move that down a little bit. Once I move from my 300-piece all-around toolkit to something more compact, that'll probably be it. I might actually do a Packout mount with one of the... Did you say not to do the pre-built Milwaukee Packout metric sets, or to do them?
Do the pre-built one.
Okay. That's what I was thinking of doing, but I just wanted to double check with you, because we did have a conversation on this at one point.
I tried piecing one together out of tools that I had, and finding dividers that actually hold up is basically impossible.
Yeah.
So just spend the money, buy the Milwaukee stuff, but don't do, like, you don't need the full socket set.
No.
What I want to do is I want to get down to the half setup. So, like, they've got the $100 3/8 drive metric set. I'm going to buy one of those. I'll probably, for my 1/2-inch drive set, buy the full 1/2-inch drive
impact.
But
I was gonna ask. I mean, if you're, for the sake of space saving, would it be better to just buy all impact instead of chrome, because impact can do both?
Yeah.
So what I do is, in 1/2-inch drive, I go out of my way to only do impact sockets if I can.
Yeah.
In 3/8 drive, I do chromoly, because I'm not going to run a 3/8 impact.
Also, you really should try to get short sockets and not just have all long ones, which is mostly impacts.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, do they make shorty impact sockets or no?
They do. Actually, Milwaukee has a set for $229.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think there's a place to mix and match a little bit. Personally, I'm probably just going to buy the Milwaukee stuff, and I'm going to aim to do as many of the half Packouts as I can, because 1, they take up less space in the truck. 2, if I've got them on the trailer and you need them, you just grab the half pack you need. You don't need to carry around a whole freaking case.
Yeah, that's an absolute game changer right there. I don't have the convenience of being able to just grab the whole thing off of my truck.
Right.
It is nice I can grab the whole 1/2-inch tray, but it would be very cool to grab the whole fucking box off. Right now they're hard mounted, so it's not as easy.
That's kind of the point in going to Milwaukee, is to be able to spread our tools out, where, like, right now, we don't have all the Milwaukee boxes we need, so we've got a chest full of tools.
Yeah.
Well, that chest full of tools could easily be split into 10 of the smaller Packout boxes, and then you just grab what you need. Oh, you need a ball joint press? Grab the ball joint press Packout box.
Yep.
Because the goal is to not have to unload the trailer 100% every time we need something.
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about slowly switching my Pelicans out for plates and doing
Backouts.
Milwaukee, but only the shorter. So again, I want to keep the same amount of clearance, and around the same size box as the one I had before. But that's just about as expensive as buying a brand new Pelican too. So it's kind of, I don't need it. It's just a convenience thing.
The thing with the Packouts they are expensive. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're cheap, because they're fucking not.
No.
But the convenience factor with a Packout, there's nothing on the market that matches them in convenience factor.
Yeah, it's the mounting is the most. I think that's the biggest player in it, to be honest.
It is
100%.
It's the mounting.
And
it's not the quality of the box itself. There are others that have similar quality.
Mhm.
It's the fact that you can buy aftermarket Packout plates and mount them literally anywhere.
Yep.
So roofs, you can mount them vertically. You can mount them underneath your truck if you really wanted to. I mean,
like,
put them in the spare tire area.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to build a Prinsu-style rack for my truck. And when I do that, I'm going to have somebody cut me a big sheet of, instead of having, slats that go between everything, I'm just going to have someone cut me a big sheet of aluminum with Packout mounts lining the entire thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had them cut out a sheet as wide as your rack, as long as your rack, and literally made it all Packout cutouts.
That's my plan.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have to still have supports in there, but if you had all of the mounts on this, on each side of your truck already spaced properly, I think I guess it wouldn't matter what size box, because I was going to say that what would matter would be the spacing on your box, but they all put them in pretty much the same places.
I'd space them for the biggest box, and that would be
box and the metal sides. That's the widest.
Yeah, I would have it set up specifically to fit the biggest Packout box, and then anything would fit after that.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I'm not going to have Packouts on there all the time.
No.
Because when I throw my tent up there, I'm not going to have Packouts up there as much.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be so convenient. Like, the Packouts that are the size of our individual Packout setups, I would just slap that up there.
Yep.
I could line my entire truck with everything I need right there. Tools, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not taking the trailer, I can now take whatever tools we should have with us and put them up there off the trailer.
Yep.
But then if we are taking the trailer, we can just put them on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, our trailer, for anyone who doesn't know, it's not necessarily a crazy overland built trailer. It's literally just a flat trailer with Packout mounts.
Yep.
So that we can put whatever we need to on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just want to follow that through with the truck. I mean, the back is already pretty much all Packout mounts.
Yeah.
But we're on Saturday, right?
Yes, we're on Saturday now.
Okay. Sorry for the rant. Packouts are amazing, even though they're expensive as piss.
And trend is definitely taking off in most of our groups.
I saw a lot of Packouts both on other like non-MST trucks and MST trucks this weekend.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's taken off.
The one thing I get Milwaukee's color scheme. The one thing that if I could change it would be that they offered Packouts in different colors.
I would love the black ones from the UK.
The black Packouts. I will spray paint every one of my Packouts if I use them on the
mine too.
Yeah.
Probably every Packout on our trailer is going to get painted. I hate red.
Yeah, me too.
It is ugly. But the box itself, everything it gives us is worth it.
Yep.
So we're on Saturday though.
Yep.
Saturday we woke up. We were kind of moving slow. We had made arrangements. My wife became really good friends with Busted to Built's wife, Megan. So they made plans for us to go find horses. Because
you gotta remember early Saturday morning what me had to do before we even hit the trail.
Oh, right. I was missing a shock bushing, so we had to go into town and buy a shock for my truck, which I took the bushing off of and then returned the shock. So I got a free bushing.
Thief.
Don't do that. It's bad.
Thief.
I'm basically a thief.
Basically, he says, like you didn't like the clear definition isn't there.
So we fixed my shock bushing. I say fix. It's not fixed. It's just usable now.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta buy Icon bushings because they're way beefier. So then Oh, then while we were in town, I got a text from my boss that my birds tested positive for MG. MG is a step down from AI in spreadability. And at this point, we didn't know if it had left the other barn yet. But if it had left the other barn, at this point, their plan was to depop my farm and kill all my birds. That would have made my next, probably 6 months absolute fucking hell.
For anybody who doesn't know, AI is anal influenza.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's
Yes.
avian influenza. Sorry. But just so anybody knows, because he's speaking like we know chicken terms.
Right. And I cannot pronounce the actual name for MG, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Look it up. Look up MG in turkeys. It's really bad.
Machine guns.
So at this point, we didn't know if it had jumped, but if it had, they planned on killing all the birds. I'm not going to get into what happened in the last couple of days, but I'm not going to get into it later, so I'll just do it now. We're not killing all the birds, but all of them have MG. It is treatable, but we're just going to skip a flock cycle and clean out every barn as we go and treat it to kill the MG before it spreads to new birds.
Yep.
It's not going to be convenient, but it's way better than killing everything. I've got right now probably, I think it's like 20 million or something like that in inventory. I say inventory, it's livestock. I've got a lot of birds.
Yep.
So we're not killing them. Thank God.
You have 20 million in those barns.
Price-wise, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's no way
value.
you have 20 million birds in there.
You're the small farm?
Yeah, you're exaggerating a tad.
If we had killed all the birds, by the time we were back to regular production, it would have been about $20 million in losses.
Yeah.
So it's not even necessarily that I have $20 million worth of birds on the farm right now. It's just by the time that everything was said and done, that's what we would have lost.
Yep.
Man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, you need
and
a
they
raise.
don't pay me jack shit. Right? Fuck. So we're not doing that. We're going to treat them. Thank God. It's been a really rough couple of days. I'll just leave it at that. I have a fear of going out of town because every time I come back, things have gone to hell.
Yeah.
That is how it works, my friend.
So, so we get back to camp, and then we head out on our little...
Overheated.
Oh, Mark overheated.
So
Mark overheated.
We decided to see if it was my thermostat. So we ended up removing it.
Yep.
Just to force cold air, see if that fixed it.
Yeah, so we removed the thermostat to just allow it to, flow water just all the time. Then we got back out on the trail, now with Busted to Built, which, by the way, watching that Tahoe work is fucking awesome.
It is awesome.
That thing is so fun to watch. We have to get him on at some point. I talked to him about it this weekend, and he's so down.
Yep.
Go look him up, Busted to Build on YouTube. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we get back out on the trail, and we make it not even half a mile.
Yeah.
And Mark goes, I'm overheating. I'm like, all right, are you going back to camp? And he's like, yeah, I'll go back to camp. So we continue on our quest to find horses. I don't even remember what trail we were on at this point.
101.
Was it just 101?
Yeah. The main trail going through all there was 101. I know you had all the side chutes, but 101 I literally, followed.
Yeah, and I don't think we took any side chutes. I think we just followed 101 as well. I can't even find Leatherwood. There it is. So yeah, we just followed 101, and we came up to a group of 3 horses, which I see horses every day. I have horses. The wild horses are so much cooler than my horses. My horses are assholes. These guys walked right up to our truck. They let us, we got out, we were petting them. I almost got on one and then decided, my wife was like, that's not a good idea. And I'm like, she's probably right.
Buzzkill.
It was awesome, man. Like, I can't even put into words. The horses were probably the second best part of the whole trip.
Mm-hmm.
And that first group of 3, there were 3 geldings, 2 older ones and a yearling. Fantastic. They were super friendly. The yearling was a little skittish, but after some warming up, I got him to let me pet him. And then we're like, well, I hear there's more if we keep going. So we continue on down the trail, and we come up to this group of probably, what would you say, 15 or 20 of them?
Yeah.
Like, there were a bunch.
There was a bunch.
And there were 4 babies and 2 donkeys.
And meal.
I wanted to pet and a mule, yeah. I wanted to pet a donkey so bad, but they wouldn't even let me get close. The mule would come right up to me and stand just out of arm's reach, and then when I reached out to pet him, he would try to nibble my fingers, but he would not let me touch him. He was driving me nuts. Then I tried to pet a couple of mares, and they were not having it with their babies right there. But while I'm over here trying to, pet a baby or a donkey or a mule or something cool, Duncan has not gotten out of his truck at all. And he's sitting there, and one of the studs just keeps picking up his backpack and trying to take it out of the truck. Like, he's trying to steal Duncan's shit. So we probably sat and played with them for a good 30, 35 minutes. Like, it was so fun, man. And they were super friendly.
Yes, they were.
So then we get back on the trail, and we make it 20 feet, and we hear Mark over the radio. This motherfucker had limped his truck all the way out there because he was not giving up wheeling.
No. So now back to me. We got back to camp. I'm trying to figure out, like, what is going on with my truck besides overheating. Like, there has to be something workaround. So I looked up hill climb issues with steep hills. And I was like, yeah, we put it in low gear. So I'm like, oh, so it must be a low gear thing. So I was like, all right, Alan, I'm going to try something stupid. We got a trail right above us to test this theory. So we went up to what we did the very first night, or day, I should say. And I went up there, not issues. I slapped in 2 low, and then slapped in a 4-wheel, climbed up without any major overheating issues. I'm like, all right, we're going to go back to 101 and make our way through there. If I have overheating, I'll turn back and call it a day. So I actually tired time that way. I didn't have any major overheating issues. I noticed a little bit jump when we went up hills, but it wasn't significant enough like it did the first time. So, like, all right, we're going to keep going. So I think it was when we got past the 3 horses when we started picking up your node. Which,
yeah,
we made a major breakthrough with nodes this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Custom channels, it's the way.
Yeah. So I was following you on 8-tack, and I was following the trail because on the 8-tack map I was using, you can see the trail line. I'm like, oh, it looks like Alex is over here on this trail, so we're definitely on the right track.
Yeah. So we met up. They went and looked at the horses while we continued on, and they got caught up at some point.
Yep.
And then we made it back to camp. I don't even remember what we did. We just kind of packed up Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then hung out with Ed and Rebecca at the fire for a little while.
And then we also tried the power lines.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. We tried Powerline Ridge. I don't even think there's a trail marker for it.
I don't think so.
Now that I say that. Let me see.
I got through the first half pretty well.
It's basically just straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's marked as 105, it looks like. Yeah, it's 105 on Onyx.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just a straight, it's a wild hill climb.
Yep.
You can kind of see it. It just follows the power lines there. If you look up 105 on Onyx and follow it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. It looked like fun. Watching the Tahoe not be able to make it kind of told me that I couldn't make it.
Yeah, that part of the hill climb.
So, yeah, that was it's a double red but it's not even marked on Onyx, which is funny.
Mm.
So I didn't do that, and then we kind of me and the Tahoe went up 105. We were just going to finish it out, but Mark turned around, so we turned around to see what was up.
Yeah, I couldn't climb it, and I was starting to overheat. So, like, no, I'm not going to push it.
So we turned around, met back up with Mark, and then Mark went back to camp.
Yep.
And me and the Tahoe went and played in
Playground?
Welcome to the Jungle a little bit.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Which is the playground.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a separate trail.
No, they're the same thing.
Okay.
Like what they call Drive Shaft Alley. That's what we were trying to get the Tahoe up. That was so freaking fun, dude. Like that whole trail is just, it's wild. It's fun.
Yeah.
Then we went back to camp and just packed up because it was supposed to rain all of Sunday morning. So we got as much packed up as we could.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yep.
Then we sat around the fire for a couple hours and went to bed.
Mm-hmm. A little earlier than the night before.
Yeah, a little bit. Then we originally had talked about leaving camp around I think we were talking about 1.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
You and me were originally talking
about
that time.
Yeah, we're talking about leaving around 1 and just making it halfway back, stopping and camping, and then continuing on. But I think we were all just kind of done with it by Sunday morning. Because we had 2 trucks that were overheating. And Duncan's alternator went out.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
So we had 2 trucks overheating, and one of the trucks that was overheating wasn't charging itself.
And we thought we were going to have a Drummond Island scouting mission again.
Yeah. Another recap on packouts, right? I think, and I recommend this to all listeners and everybody should do this. Build some kind of packout battery box. Doesn't have to be your main truck battery, but have it tie into your main truck battery. Because then, let's say our group of 3, if one of us had been running an extra packout battery, we could have just swapped it into the truck and continued on and just done that repeatedly, allowing the alternator of the other truck to charge it.
Yeah.
So I think at least me, Mark, and Duncan are going to do that. Just because if you have an alternator go out, we can limp a truck along without having to be tethered that way.
Yeah. You've even been in this situation twice now. Duncan was a little better than Joe's experience.
Yeah, because luckily, we didn't know this yet, but Duncan's truck still charged. It was barely enough to keep the truck on.
Yep.
So, yeah, I highly recommend build a battery box with an Anderson connector on it, preferably a Packout battery box, because then it's just clicking into a Packout plate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to build another one of those for my truck, so I have 2 batteries, and then I'm going to at least have a location on Mark and Duncan's truck for a battery.
Yeah.
That can tie right to their main battery.
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with that idea and then went to sleep Saturday night, woke up Sunday. We got on the road, was it 8:30, 9 o'clock?
I want to say yes.
I know it was early, but we got on the road pretty early. We went to Lexington was the plan. Which, by the way, Lexington is absolutely fucking beautiful. We went to the O'Reilly's that had Mark's radiator in stock.
Yep.
Which happened to be a hub.
Yes.
And we met the world's coolest O'Reilly's employee who is now a listener. And I don't remember his name, but O'Reilly's guy from the Lexington hub, you're the freaking goat. He gave me a tour of the hub and was showing me turbos off tanks and stuff. There was some crazy shit back there. He pulled out a wooden O'Reilly's parts box from the 1930s.
Oh, jeez.
It was cool, man. They had a turbo room. They had a wiper room.
Oh,
it was so cool. So yeah, we got to do that. We got Mark's radiator swapped. We put a new alternator in Duncan's truck.
And speaking of
After
the radiator was definitely bad. It had material in it, like dry clay.
Yeah.
By the time we drained
And also, Mark's bumper had to come off to swap the radiator.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah.
And bushings and shit and other stuff was bad.
Yeah, so
it was not a fun
made
experience.
It work. We got it fixed. Next time it'll be easier because of some of the mods we did.
Yep.
I mean, please don't have your radiator go bad again. That sucked.
Yeah.
But
I don't plan on it.
I want to say that's the original radiator in it, in all honesty.
Probably.
And I'm almost at 200,000 miles, so.
But, so we got everything fixed. We got back on the road. Duncan's truck was charging right. Mark's truck was cooling right. And we made it, I don't know, 50 miles. And I hear over the radio, my truck's getting warm. I swear to God. If there's any word, this is going to be the show title, like, of both of these episodes. It's not going to be Leatherwood Trip. It's going to be My Truck's Getting Warm, Part 1. I heard it over the radio. Like, I had PTSD from hearing the words. My truck's warm.
I could tell by how frazzled you got while talking about it.
Jesus, dude. So, Duncan's truck still is not cooling right. We limped it home. We were just kind of done at this point. I think we stopped, tried to burp it, didn't do anything, so we just headed home.
That's kind of what I don't like about like lining back trips is like by the time you're done with that trip, you're done. Like
Oh yeah.
it's kind of why I enjoy loop trips. You know, like your middle camp spots, like the second day in, and then you still have 2 more days to come on the way back. So it's like the last day, yeah, you're still kind of like done, but you're not like exhausted from it. I mean,
yeah,
but that was a lot of stuff you guys had in a short amount of time.
I think it was
If we had
better
just
than the
driven-
7-hour plane crash trail incident. That one was a really, I'm done and we're going home.
we should not have went home that
No,
night.
we shouldn't have.
We should do like a 30-minute on that at some point because I don't know that I've ever heard the story on that.
I thought
About
we
when my lower ball joint failed and why my fender is now sticker bombed.
Yeah.
I thought we talked
Yep.
about that one, but we can do that.
I don't remember.
do that
We've
at
done a
some
lot of
point.
episodes, so maybe we should do just one, like, or a 15. Maybe I'll just have Alex join me on mine, and we'll just do a 15 on the 7-hour plane crash trail.
I think we're on, like, aside from the fact that we split it up by seasons, I think that this is like episode 46 or 66.
Yeah, we got quite a bit.
Right.
Like, we've been killing it, guys. Yeah, so we had 22 episodes on season 1, and we are currently at, this will be episode 42 of season 2.
Yep.
So that's a lot of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I would say that incident sucked because we were ill prepared.
Yep.
We had tools with us, not quite the right tools.
Not
We
all
didn't-
tools.
We didn't know as much as we do about the Toyota platforms then as we do now.
Yep.
I mean, it was just an ill-prepared thing. We just weren't ready to be doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Ah, shit, my phone's ringing. I'm going to mute myself. I'll be back.
Yeah.
You guys kind of talk along.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 huckleberries now.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it just shut me out of here. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah.
But yeah, the we were very ill prepared for 7-hour plane crash trail. I think that's a lot of why we built the trailer for it was because of our incident.
100%. Yeah, but so we got the trucks fixed. We got back on the road. We had the little overheating thing, and we booked it for a little while, and I had a shake that just kept getting worse. And finally, I pulled over, and I'm like, guys, I just can't handle it anymore. Jacked up my driver's side first, checked it. There was a little wiggle. Pulled my dust cover off to the CV axle. Sure enough, my CV axle was loose. Tightened it up, put it all back together. My fix was, 10 minutes? Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, it was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got back on the road, and guess what? My shake was gone.
He says his fix was fast because he doesn't want to add any this year.
Mine was 2 hours of fixing O'Reilly's.
Mine was 10 minutes at a gas station.
We really should buy a bunch of like black X's, and every time something happens to your truck, it gets a little black X. And then at the end of the year, we clear it off, clean slate. And then we just tally them up. We'll have an episode where we tally the X's.
So then I'm on 3 incidents now?
For this year, I'm on 1.
Yeah, I don't know. If you count every time you overheated, you might have been a bad wreck this weekend.
I know. I wouldn't count overheating. I'm saying like broken parts. I'm just thinking that I know the major one was when I bent the crap out of my control arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'd have to talk about categories because I would say anything that makes your truck break down. And break down to me, overheating's pretty much that.
Well, it never overheated. It just was getting warm. We pulled over before it overheated.
I didn't have it shooting out the radiator.
Well, that's extreme. But like if it stops the flow of things and you have to stop and wait.
So we got that fixed. And then after that, we actually... Oh, yeah. So after that, a little while later, my shake was kind of... It wasn't even that my shake was coming back. I thought that my front hood was starting to slope more to the right. So I told Duncan, go on ahead. I know you have to work in the morning and we don't. I'm going to pull over and check my tire and make sure it's not going flat.
Yeah, we were in Indiana at this point.
So I pull over. I put the pressure gauge on it. Everything's fine. We get right back on the road. We're cruising along and I hear my phone go off. And then almost as soon as my phone goes off, there's Duncan on the side of the road.
That was
funny. He'd pulled over to wait for us and sent us a text. Let me know when you're close. I'll accelerate to match your speed. But when he sent that text, we were zooming by him.
I was actually watching all these texts come in because I think this is that. Yeah, it was the weekend of Shakedown, right?
The weekend after Shakedown.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Shakedown was the previous weekend.
I'm watching all this stuff come in, and I'm just like, oh shit. I'm seeing stuff on Facebook about people broke down. I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, and I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be an interesting episode.
Yeah. He gives us the address and says just pulled over, and as he said that, we're just like, zoom. Yeah, so that happened, and then I think we stopped one more time after that to get gas. No, 2 more times.
2 more times.
One more time in northern Indiana, and then one more time in Michigan.
Yep.
But it was smooth sailing the rest of the way. I mean, because it had gotten cooler outside, no one's trucks were, warm.
Yep. We also had rain go through again.
Yeah. Got back to the right sea level.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Forerunner was happy. It was in its element, man.
Yeah. It must have been from the south or something at some point. She was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. I know what to do.
No,
mine was a southern one.
Brand new. Bought brand new in Wisconsin.
I think mine was Virginia.
Right. Well, then yours is just sad. Well, I mean, we knew why yours overheated, so.
Yeah.
So I have the list here that I was reading while everyone was at Leatherwood. And I just want to read out all the damage that was done that weekend. So
go ahead.
I'm going to read it from the top here. Mark overheated a few times, but after flushing the radiator fins with water and clearing out a bunch of mud, it seems to be well. You guys now know the whole story on that. Ed dented the rear bumper of the 5th gen, which for his truck and the amount of clearance he had, that's pretty good for him.
Yeah, it wasn't like major. It was like someone kicked a soccer ball into it, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Gio broke a CV axle and punctured 2 tires.
Yep.
One of the other tacos knocked their upper control arm out of alignment, and I'm pretty sure
Mario.
He got it reset. One of the guys in Derek V's group punctured 2 tires, and someone else had a puncture.
And there were 2 more.
Yep, someone else. Oh, go ahead.
they ran out of spare tires for
Yeah.
Toyotas on that.
Yeah, they were looking at Marketplace for spare tires.
Gio had his spare tire on.
Yeah.
And borrowed someone else's tires.
Yes, that too.
Someone else's in Gio's group got a 1-inch diameter stick straight through their sidewall and punctured a tire.
That was Jackson.
And then of the very early arrivals, think he broke a coil over on his crawler Jeeps, so he left Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Jay. And he did break a coil over on his Jeep.
Yeah. Alex broke a crossbar off his roof rack and got stuck in the mud in a very big way, but managed to winch himself out. And then Wild Bill ran out of gas about 12 miles into a 25-mile trail at the bottom of an active creek bed.
Yep.
So
in a thunderstorm.
Yeah. So
Busted the Bill told him out for most of it.
Crazy.
So yeah, Busted the Bill actually ground towed the CJ, Wild Bill CJ, through all of the big hill climbs and everything at the end of the trail.
Did he didn't drive his CJ down all the way, right? He trailered it on the Sequoia.
Trailered, yeah.
I spent spring shakedown with him, and the whole time he's like, "I'm not doing nothing crazy. I'm not gonna." this whole weekend I've been hearing him being called Wild Bill, and you got crazy, didn't you, buddy?
He's always crazy. Drummond Island, he was just flooring it up Marble.
Driving backwards.
Drummond Island. Yeah, driving backwards, just beating the piss out of that poor CJ.
Yeah, that is so funny because the whole time in Spring Shakedown, he's like, hey. He sounded like the most innocent guy. He's like, yeah, I got a little crazy on Drummond. Not going to lie. Things got a little out of control, but this isn't going to happen again. That wasn't me. Like he was talking like, that was a one-time thing. I won't be drinking this time.
He was drinking.
Like...
I'm following him down a trail. And he's hanging a silver bullet out the window, and I ran up and threw a koozie over it so he didn't drop it.
People was giving him alcohol the entire time too.
He was such a stellar guy. He's a lot of fun.
He is.
He's up there with one of my maybe not my favorite person to wheel with, but my favorite stories and favorite person at camp.
Yeah, great personality guy. He showed up to our spring. He was actually the first person to show up, and I think that was a day earlier or way earlier in the morning. And he hung out and talked to us. Like, we had some weird guy that looked like he stepped right out of the 80s pull up on a completely restored, like, three-wheeler from the 80s. Like that bright yellow,
crazy,
like Yamaha looking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the guy had, like, complete 80s outfit. Complete 80s hair. Like, it was like he stepped out of a time capsule.
Yeah.
He's just talking to us, and it's like me and Bill are like, man, this is odd. We're in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, Bill's a real cool guy. He rode around on his bike, hung out with us. Scott came by. They smoked cigars together. That was my first time meeting him, and I had no idea he had a Sequoia. I was like, who drives a Sequoia that we know? Yeah. So.
Yeah, Wild Bill's awesome.
Yep.
I cracked me up the whole time. Yeah, so I mean, as you can hear from the damage report, it was crazy, and that's all there is to it.
Crazy fun for most people.
It was fun. I think everyone had fun.
Yeah, I think overall,
day.
The patience. I mean, you can only put up with that so long, and then you got some people with kids or something like that. They're crying. They want to get out and do stuff. Yep. It's like there's nothing worse.
We did that loop, like I said, in like 3 hours. I think it was like it.
Yeah.
It honestly, it probably wouldn't have been bad for Derek's group if they were only like 3 to 5 trucks.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have taken as long to pull everyone through.
Right.
And then you got everyone that wants to stop, and each one gets their picture on that rock, or, I could see where that would be troublesome.
And I can honestly say, as much as I love Derek, I never want to wheel in Derek's group at any event, because everyone ends up in his group, and it ends up being so big. And the Jeep group was big too. They had like 10, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So imagine them getting stuck behind Derek's group of 15. That's 25 rigs just waiting to move.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
majority of the camp was there.
Yeah, that's a double-edged sword because a lot of the times when Derek does these events, he is usually the one that has to keep the newer stragglers in line or the easier group. And
Yeah.
not that
Well,
he
that's-
isn't like equipped for harder
Oh,
stuff.
he's not.
Or is.
No,
you
he's
know,
not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But he ends up getting all of the newer people too. And when you have 15 people that need, we don't have a bunch of people volunteering to go, hey, let's break this group up. They
Right.
don't want that either. So it ends up falling in on him. 15's too
And-
much for that type of wheeling. It's not for
Derek-
scenic stuff, but
Derek will come right out and tell you he does not have experience. Like, Derek's only been wheeling since 2022
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
2021. Like, he'll tell you, I do not have experience. I only know Michigan trails.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he'll straight up tell you, my truck is not built for this
Mhm.
because it's not. It's built for Michigan trails. That's it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he's a good event planner. He plans
Very
out
much
the
so.
stuff, and he's very good at helping the newcomers and stuff.
Yep.
But that was just a situation where that was a lot for everyone.
Yep.
And including him. That was his first time. That was his first time on those types of trails. Like we mentioned in the previous episode, it was everybody's first, other than a couple people that had the experience from other states, like Alex and maybe some others, but nobody knew what they needed to have experience-wise, what they needed to have equipped-wise for their vehicle, because there wasn't the intel there to help.
I will say, a lot of the guys will say, it would have been better if I had a locker. It would have been better. I did the whole thing open. Like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I
would a
think-
locker have been nice? Yes, but you really didn't need it.
Yeah, I think that's where experience comes into it too, because you knew exactly where to go line-wise. Hey, and we have a message from a listener, right? That's what that sound was. The message
is
was, let's read it
It is
out.
my dad. It is my dad, and he says, "Ah."
Oh, I was going to make
because he
something
tried-
up.
He tried to call me, and I said, "I'm recording the podcast," and then he goes, "Ah."
Yeah, I was going to make something up like, what was your favorite mod for the weekend? Just
Yeah.
the weekend, not the entirety of your life. What was your favorite thing that you were like, fuck, this is handy?
Well, this is awesome because we got 10 minutes left, and we're pretty much done with Leatherwood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a great trip. I can't wait to do it again.
Yep.
Next year. A little bit of housekeeping. I know me and Mark have been talking about doing Moab pretty much nonstop. I think that we are not doing Moab in 2026.
Yep.
I think that we're going to go back to Leatherwood with a group of, I don't want more than 4 trucks total. I want to be able to go out and actually do some of the harder trails without having to worry about other people.
Yep.
That trip, I plan on trailering as many of the trucks down as I can, because it's one that I plan on getting rowdy and being rowdy on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Well, since I already asked it, what was Mark? What was your favorite? What was your favorite upgrade for the weekend that you were like, "Fuck, thank God I had this"?
I'll be a second cooler.
There you go.
Yeah, so we stopped at a Meijer on the way down and bought drinks, and they had nothing cold. No cold pop, no cold beer. So we went through ice like crazy, just getting the drinks cold. So it was nice having a cooler that we could put the food in, that we just didn't have to worry about it.
Yep.
Really, as long as you don't buy warm drinks, you're fine with coolers. But that was really irritating that they had nothing warm. Turns out that's an Indiana thing, by the way.
Well, nothing cold.
Yeah, they don't sell cold beer.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. What about
Didn't
you,
know
Alex?
either.
Anything different, or is yours kind of the same?
The swag.
Yeah.
That's it. The swag is great.
Yeah. No, that's valid. So let me ask this then, since you mentioned that. Does a fridge make more sense now, as far as convenience-wise, to be able to put on a trailer?
No.
Put on a trailer?
Yeah, I mean, if you
Maybe.
enclosed it.
So, how about this? If Milwaukee came out with a fridge that fit into the Packout system, I would be more interested in a fridge.
Yep.
Having to specifically set up my setup for a fridge makes it less convenient.
What about like just mounting a plate onto the bottom of it? A lot of them have foots that you can just unscrew and mount a plate to.
I've really thought about it because
Yeah.
I kind of looked into them maybe 2 months ago.
Right.
But for the cost of a fridge
Mhm.
and the fact that none of them are Milwaukee sized, and I don't want one that's
I was
Milwaukee
about to
sized.
say,
Because-
we gotta find the right size box.
My Milwaukee sized cooler is 49 quarts, 49, 42,
Liters.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. But if I were to get a fridge of the exact same size, it would be significantly smaller because of the fridge mech.
Yep.
Um,
I was gonna say, I think
So-
mine's a 38, and that's much smaller than what yours is when you
Right.
translate that into cooler size. By the time you'd get yours, you'd need like a 55 or a 65 liter.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you manage ice properly, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, the way we did it by having food, and this is the other thing, if you're going to do coolers, it's good to have two, one for food and one for drinks, because the drink cooler is always going to go through ice faster, but it's less of an issue if the drink cooler goes through ice.
Yeah.
It's only an issue if the food cooler goes through ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we did not have a single problem with our food cooler at
No.
all.
I think
My
the
only cooler...
the only issue we had was when we ran out of food, so we started putting pops in the bottom.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep.
Right.
We went through our
Yeah, I think-
steaks and sausage or beef, so I was like, well, we got room for more drinks.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, for me, 38 liter, I wish I could have had a 45. That's my only. I wish I could get rid of the ice box and make it a 45.
Yeah.
And that would free up some space, because what I typically do is I'll put 3 or 4 drinks in the fridge
Mm-hmm.
and I'll leave the rest out, because they don't need to be cold. You're not wasting a bunch of extra power on that, or anything. You're not wasting anything. They're just sitting
Right.
there. They're not doing any harm. So I'll have a 12-pack sitting there. I'll take 3 or 4 out of it for the day, put them in the fridge, and they're 35, 40 degrees when I want them.
Yep.
That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that I do 1 4-day trip, 1 to 2 4-day trips a year.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense for you, especially that
It's-
size. It would be very, very expensive to get a decent one.
And I'm not saying that fridges are bad. I'm saying that you get a good cooler, it's not as big of a problem.
Yep.
Now,
It
if you're
isn't.
trying to run like a Walmart cooler, man, them things fucking suck. And if you plan things out right and you're pre-chilling all the food and drink going into a cooler, that cuts down on problems a lot.
Yes.
The biggest problem is to take something from warm to cold.
Yep.
And that's like our big cooler. We never had issues with ice in the big cooler ever,
No.
because
Right.
we'd get a 25-pound bag of ice and we might only be cooling, we could have gotten away with a 4-pound bag of ice
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
amount of stuff we had in it. So the ice would cool things down and it would barely melt anything.
Right.
But
Yeah. And if you know that you're going to eat meat on the 4th day, keep it frozen. like keep it frozen when you put it in. Make sure if you're going to have something different, thaw it out, put
Yep.
it in a different area to thaw.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally taken meat out of the fridge and then put it in a Ziploc baggie and put it in a drawer a couple hours before I
Now-
knew that we were going to eat, just to thaw it out.
if you're doing the cooler thing, and let's say, just for ease of use here, let's say you're going to be out for 5 days and you're eating steak and mashed potatoes the entire 5 days, right? You freeze 3 out of your 4 packs of steak. You
Yep.
put them in the bottom of the cooler. You add a small bag of ice on top of them. That is your ice now. That
Yep.
that meat is your ice.
Mhm.
Now, You put your next 2 steaks on the top of the cooler because you're going to use them in your first 2 days. You cook up the first one, you cook up the second one. By the time you've cooked up that second one, that third one should be pretty well thawed.
Yep.
You pull that one out, but the bottom 2 will still be kind of frozen. So you just you space it out so that they're in the order that you're going to use them in the cooler.
Yeah.
I recommend maybe not water bottles. Water bottles sweat, but they're a good option because then you're also carrying water. But if you can get the gel packs, the freezer gel packs, those last longer than standard ice anyway. I pre-froze a bunch of them for this trip and left them in my freezer.
Yeah.
Which is probably most of my issue.
On topic of the gel pack, I'm kind of curious because I think I sent you these, Alex. There's pre-chilled ice blocks, literally ice cubes. I'm kind of wondering how because supposedly they last for 24 hours, but I don't know if they last longer in our coolers based off of that.
I'd have to see.
Yeah.
I don't remember this. The other thing, when I was a kid, we used to do this a little bit. Because when I was a kid, we used to horse camp, and we'd be gone for like 2 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So our meat that we were going to be using later, Dad would put it in a cooler with dry ice and then pull it out and put it in the normal cooler to let it thaw. That worked great. If you're doing a 2-cooler thing, having one that's a dry ice cooler is smart.
Yeah, and then you're not opening it, because the more you open it, the more heat, or
Exactly.
the more cold that you actually lose. So every time you're grabbing a beer out of there, you're losing precious cold.
And that is why I highly recommend having a separate food chest from drink chests.
Yep.
Also, make sure they stay latched. We had issues this weekend where a certain individual in our group would never latch the cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And that made the drink cooler melt significantly faster.
See, this is why you need 4 Milwaukee Packout coolers, 1 for beer, 1 for veggies, 1 for meat, and 1 for et ceteras. And then you're...
Oh, man.
It's perfect.
I would also
It's the
say
setup.
You just...
if you run coolers, put them inside the truck, they would definitely last a little bit longer. I mean, I know mine didn't last. Mine lasts pretty well, but I think it would have done better if it was inside.
I actually think that they last better outside the truck. They're white, so they don't absorb the sun as much. But when you put them in the truck is warmer than outside.
Yeah, that's
true.
valid. Yeah,
True.
that's a good point. I was going to say, with coolers and fridges, they work harder in hotter spaces. So, for instance, my fridge in my truck, when it's 95 degrees outside, my truck's 120, whatever, is going to work a whole lot harder and expend a whole lot more battery life just to actually get it to keep it as cold. I tend to move the temperature up a little bit on those days so that the fridge isn't working so hard to try to keep it at, let's say, 45. I'll say, okay, let's just keep it at like 50, 55, because it's still keeping things cold.
Because you're going to add a house battery, right? You talked about that?
Yeah.
You should do that in a Packout. You should do that in a Packout so that it's removable if you have an issue with your alternator and can just swap it.
Well, so I'm going to have it where I'm going to put it is there's actually a spot under the hood for a house battery, a second spot on the opposite side, but I will have it hooked up through Anderson connectors so that I can take it out. But I mean, there's a perfect spot for it. Plenty of room to have a second battery there. So it makes more sense to have it in the engine bay where I have the space for it versus it taking space somewhere in the truck.
Right.
So
where we really, I mean, I guess I did have space under my hood for another one, but I'm moving it all to the back. So
no, I mean, it makes sense for you. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yep.
I definitely have thought about it, but I'm going to get like a 105-watt solar panel to put on the hood so that anytime we're camping, it's just going to charge. Anytime we're wheeling, it'll slow charge. It'll just slow things down. I don't expect it to have everything charged by the end of the day, but it'll slow the consumption.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, that really, Coolers are good, man. The coolers are really good.
Yeah.
The swag was, I can't even tell you how nice it was. And there's an added benefit, right? So the swag has two panels on the top that open. They call them like stargazing panels or something. But the swag is short. So if you had to get something out of the swag, you could just open the roof and reach down and get it. It was the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah,
I thought they were just like clear webbing or something. I didn't know you could actually open them to get through them. That's cool.
I didn't know
Yeah,
either
they
until
open
he
right
got
up.
it.
Huh.
Yeah, they open right up. Yeah, all together, man, the swag is just, I mean, any tent you spend $600 on is probably going to be a pretty decent tent.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
At
that point, they have to be pretty decently in the quality department.
Especially a $600 two-person tent. Like, that's got to be a pretty fucking good tent.
Yeah.
But it just was good, man. That high-density foam was way more comfortable than I was expecting. And I found it interesting. Most of the people that had rooftop tents still can't put their bedding in their rooftop tent.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry.
Especially the ones that like flip open to give extra space or whatever. You can't put bedding in those. It doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's why I did the research on that beforehand. That you actually, if that's your plan, then to actually look for a rooftop tent with that as is one of the features to be able to do, to have the extra space.
By taking that out, right? Taking that away, not having bedding be able to be stored up there, that makes a rooftop tent almost worthless.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
the only benefit is you won't feel rocks. Well, I didn't feel rocks, and I had a foot-high boulder under my tent.
Yeah. No, that definitely takes away a big sell point on it. I mean, there are a lot of sell points on rooftop tents. They just aren't for your type of wheeling, so they're not sell points for you. But that is one of the major ones, and that was one of my major reasons, is to be able to store all of our bedding in there.
That was the only thing about a rooftop tent that ever interested me.
Yeah. And
which is why I got a swag.
Yeah, I think that might have to do with the beds the rooftop tents have in them. A lot of the times rooftop tents come with like a foam pad and not an inflatable. And I think if you switch that foam with an inflatable, you would gain some of that space because you have 3 or 4 inches of foam.
That's what Ed and Rebecca did, because they only come with like 30 mil foam usually too, which is ridiculous. But Ed and Rebecca, they swapped theirs for an inflatable, and the inflatable is better. But now you've got to set the tent up, which takes time. You've got to inflate the mattress, which takes time. Then you have to move your bedding in, which takes time. By the time they're done setting up, I could have my swag up and ready to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think their inflatable has foam on it too, though.
No,
I think they have the X pad, which I think has a layer of foam on it.
Yeah, it's like 5 millimeters of foam. It's basically a winter sleep pad.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
I'm sure it is.
I've tested them out, but
it's just
that rooftop tent wasn't designed for it, unfortunately. With that in mind, I mean,
once you get to that point, though, like, your 2 big selling points on a rooftop tent are ease of setup, which gets taken away, and ability to store bedding, which gets taken away. So now, what are the sell points?
Yeah, that you're off ground.
Why is that a big deal? I don't mind being on the ground.
You don't. Other people do.
If I'm in a thunderstorm, I'll tell you I'd rather be on the ground.
Yeah, but like I said, they're not sell points for you. They're sell points for other people. That's the whole thing. You don't understand. Other people do.
But that's what I'm saying is, I'm not saying all rooftop tents are bad, but once you take away those 2 big sell points, it really limits a reason to get a rooftop tent.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody. And that's why you see so many of them on Facebook, is people buy them blindly and then realize, oh, this doesn't do what I want it to do. Oh, I can't store bedding in it like I thought I would be able to. That kind of thing.
That's crazy to me, because that's like the number one thing.
And for clamshells, you'd think like a hard clamshell, you'd be able to do that. So If I don't know if you are running a clamshell and you listen to this, let us know. But that just seems stupid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the extra space, maybe that's not a big deal to you. But for space-conscious people like me, that makes zero sense to buy a rooftop tent just to store your stuff in the truck. That's the whole reason, a lot of people buy them, I would think.
Driving down before I broke my roof rack, it was so nice. My back seat was fully set up. I had nothing bouncing around. Everything was tucked behind the seat. I had no extra stuff taking up storage space in my truck. It was fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, after my roof rack broke, I had to put the swag in the truck.
Yep.
That took up a lot of space. But that's not normal. I don't normally do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I actually, I bought a couple things, splurged a little bit, and made some more room in my truck, and that's been kind of nice. I had those 2 Pelican boxes donated to me. I hard-mounted those up on the roof rack, which gives me a good amount more space. I put all my recovery gear now is out in a Pelican. My toe strap, my kinetic straps, all of my soft shackles, they're all in those Pelicans now. So that takes a lot of stuff out of my truck. I moved in it's a Kelty cargo box.
That thing's pretty sick.
It is. For the price, I was super wary about it because it's like $99.
Yeah, no, it's sick.
But I can fit 4 days worth of clothing in it. And there's 3 cubes, so one for me, one for my son, and one for Sienna. And it takes up less space than the duffel bags that we use. So for some reason, when we use one big duffel bag, it just takes up more room.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just because it's a square. But it's also nice that I can pull a cube out and know it's for me, put it back, or pull a cube out for Jasper because that's all we need. So
I'm used to square duffels, so
yeah,
because the military duffels, you pack them right, they're square,
right,
and you can fit. I mean, 4 days with the 3 of you, I would need half of one military duffel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really need all that much, and that's another thing is trying to be honest with yourself. What are you actually going to go through? Yeah, underwear. Yeah, socks. But are you going to go through 3 pairs of freaking pants? No.
So we packed for a 5-day trip because I had vacation till Tuesday just to be safe. And all we took was the smallest, like the half Packout. So, I mean, the listener can't see, but maybe
ammo can.
Yeah,
right.
An ammo can.
Yeah.
That's all we took for clothing. That was all of my clothes and all of Kaylin's clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Because we were just honest. I was like, all right, babe, it's going to be warm. You need, let's say 1 shirt a day. Pick 4 shirts. Pick 2 pairs of pants and 2 pairs of shorts. And I'll do the same thing. And then we'll get underwear and socks in there. Boom, we're done.
Yeah.
And I think I wore 2 shirts the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I think that I wore 1 pair of shorts. I didn't even get into my jeans. I wore 1 pair of shorts the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself and to be honest with anybody who's out camping, you get dirty. You get a little stinky. I mean, it's normal when you're out camping. That's part of it. So you don't need to change your whole outfit every day. That's just pointless. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody's looking at your outfit every day and going, ugh. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Plus, then you don't get to wear your cool Botches Hawaiian shirt the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And hey, on that note, we're gonna probably roll it out here. This is a nice long second episode, and
yes,
we got plenty of content for you.
My truck's getting hot, so
yeah. You should probably pull over.
Yeah.
All right. Catch you guys later.
Catch you later.